When it comes to history, some writers are determined to document and tell Nigeria's stories. Our next segments focus on one of them who has written a book titled Abeokuta, Beyond the Rocks.
Abeokuta, where the hilarious Harry genially guided the erring feet of the new caller, and heaven-high hills tell of their mighty molders' wondrous ways, where rustic rafters a steady roof hold, for quaint dwellings are short, and the hunter's hound treasured as the blacksmith his ewery at the smithy, where the legendary Lishabi sat in conclave with fate, and both in mutual accord chorused the final Bawa to the Egba Pathfinder's dance of leave-taking. Where now is the chastity of the maidenhead, once hidden, untainted, under the rocks of innocence?
That poem on Abeokuta, the capital of Ogun State, southwest of Nigeria, was written by Olawale Obadeyi in 1987 and published in this book titled Abeokuta, Beyond the Rocks, which captures many of the key sites, monuments and stories of the historically significant city. Abeokuta, Beyond the Rocks was written by Hakeem Adenekan as a first in a series titled The Reawaken Nigeria Project. Adenekan is an alumnus of Cranfield University, United Kingdom, University of Navarra, Barcelona, the Ogun State Polytechnic, and the Lagos Business School. With this book, Hakeem might have just announced himself as an advocate of preserving Nigerian stories. So, what inspired him?
I grew up in this town in Abeokuta, and I did all my studies here before I went abroad and all that. It was when I got abroad, sometime 2009, probably in Washington, and I laid my hands on a book about Washington State. And Washington State to New York is about 7 hours by air. So while I was aboard Continental Airline, going back to New York, within 7 hours, I went through the book and I realized that, look, somebody must have sat down and documented that state and that city, Washington, Seattle. Then something now hit me that, look, I am from Abeokuta, I'm a son of Abeokuta, and I'm from Nigeria. Abeokuta has so many firsts. It's a town of so many firsts. We don't keep record in Africa. Most importantly in Nigeria. I zeroed down to Nigeria, we don't keep record. So it baffles me each time that people travel, some of our leaders, they leave the shore of Nigeria, they go abroad. What do they bring back? What's their take? I mean, somebody or some people must have built those institutions. And what we just do is that we go on shopping spree. And I said that, look, there are so many ways we can document our history. So the only way I feel for now is that, okay, in a book format, they said Nigeria don't read books. Okay, why can't we use, think global and act local? I saw a book, internationally done, masterpiece about Washington. So what now says that we can't do that about Abeokuta, or about Nigeria? We have tourism development organizations in Nigeria, companies and institutions. So many states have their own Ministry of Tourism. But they are trying, but they are not doing as much as they are supposed to do.
So that book on Washington inspired you?
All right, it spurred me into action. So when I got back, I told myself, I said, there is need for me to start with Abeokuta. I know Abeokuta like the back of my hand. So what I did was that I gathered people. I couldn't have done it alone. And we have some people who are researchers, historians, grammarians, and all that. So I brought everybody all together. I said, look, I have this idea. This is what I'm thinking about. How could we do this and harness all the resources that we have? So the first thing I did was that there's a guy in North London called John Phillips, landscape photographer. So I hired him, I engaged him. He had to come to Nigeria over 5 years. It was a contract, personal initiative, because I believe it is a passion.
Many Nigerian cities and towns possess incredible history that have not been documented or narrated much. Abeokuta is one of such cities, and Hakeem captures some of those important histories in his book.
The very first woman to drive a car in Nigeria, and also she was the first person to ride a bicycle in Nigeria, late Chief Mrs. Olufumila Ransom Kuti, who happened to be the mother of Fela Ransom Kuti, Olikoye Ransom Kuti, and all the Kutis. The house where they were reared is still standing, is displayed there. That, I mean, their cousin, Professor Olesho Inka, was also, also lived in that house. If you read Ake's book, you understand that was where he was also nurtured. You also realize that apart from the foreigners that brought the first brewery in Nigeria, the first indigenous brewery in Nigeria was founded and established in Abeokuta by late Chief Lawson. That's Top Breweries, where you have Top Beer. That was the first indigenous beer to be brewed in Nigeria by Nigerian. It was established by Nigerian, brewed in Nigeria for Nigerian, here in Abeokuta. The very first and the biggest and the largest psychiatric hospital in the whole of Africa, Professor Adeolambo, late Professor Adeolambo, influenced it. It was the DG World Health Organization, from Abeokuta. The Arrow Psychiatric Hospital is still standing. It's there. It's the biggest and the largest in Africa, psychiatric hospital. You could go on and on. You could also talk about the Egba sons and daughters. The very first chief justice of this nation is from Abeokuta, Justice Showememo. The very first woman in the whole of Africa who was a professional chartered accountant, Mrs. Olakunre, from Abeokuta. Asha Elemide is from Abeokuta. Fela Ransom Kuti. If you go anywhere in the world, Fela is a bigger brand than Nigeria. Anywhere, Fela is from Abeokuta. I can begin. Segun Odegbami is from Abeokuta. Muda Lawal is from Abeokuta.
You have all their photos
at the back of the book, yes. Okay, do you also realize that the people that turned around banking in Nigeria, the young whiz-kids or the young, cerebral people, that was Fola Adeola and Tayo Aderonyoku. May God bless him. The two of them are from Abeokuta. They started GT Bank. You also realize that the very, research has shown that 60% of Nigerian musicians are from this town in all genres. Abeokuta has in the whole of southwest Nigeria, the first railway terminus, apart from Ido, where railway line started from. Abeokuta was the next after Ido. So the first place after Lagos, where Queen Elizabeth in 1956, pre-independence of Nigeria, where she met with all other traditional rulers at the platform in Lafenwa, Abeokuta was the first place, the terminus, where Queen Elizabeth, after she left here, she went to Ibadan, Ibadan to Enugu, Enugu to Kano. But the first place was here, where the traditional rulers met with Queen Elizabeth in 1956, pre-independence day. We have 23 presidential libraries in the whole world. 23 presidential libraries in the world. 18 are in America. One is in Russia, one is in France. The only one in Africa is here in Abeokuta. The presidential library, established by General Olusegun Obasanjo.
Oh, okay, the ongoing,
whether you like him or you don't like Obasanjo, he has earned it. That is the only presidential library in the whole of Africa and here in Nigeria and in Abeokuta. There are reasons why you have. Do you also realize that in the whole of southwest of Nigeria, Abeokuta is the main cause, the main town where Nollywood films are being shot. Most of the Nollywood films in Yoruba they are being done here in Abeokuta, and in Abeokuta we have so many first sons and daughters